Welcome to the Walk-Ons at Drink Donald with John Watson, Zachary Wood, and special guest, reporter, host, producer extraordinaire from Fox Sports 4, Kelly Saco. How you doing today, Kelly?
What's up, guys? Great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So we're all college journalists, and we're trying to know what the best ways to get into our career field. What's your journey like from Syracuse to Fox Sports Florida?
Okay, my journey was, I guess, a little bit different. A lot of people on air, and maybe a lot of your professors and a lot of people probably told you, start at a small market and work your way up to bigger markets. Mine was a little bit different. I started right here in Florida, right here in Miami with Fox Sports Florida as a production assistant. So right out of college, I got an internship for a month. It was actually through the Olympics with NBC. So while I was there, a couple days before the internship ended, just one of the guys who was there working the same exact job as me, he looked over and he's like, "Hey, so what are you gonna do?" I'm like, "Oh my God, I guess I'm gonna be a grown up. I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna look for jobs." He's like, "You're from Miami, right?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I know someone at Fox Sports Florida. Do you want me to put you in touch?" I was like, "Yes, please." So a week later, I had an interview, and the day after that, I had a job, and it was as a production assistant. And I was very transparent in that interview too, which I think that my bosses liked. That I said, "Hey, listen, these are my goals, and if this isn't somewhere that I can work towards those goals, I quite frankly don't want to be here." But you can say those things, but you got to back it up too. So yeah, I worked my way on camera from right out of college, working behind the scenes, carrying all the camera gear, wiping sweat off of people's faces, and yeah, and here I am today.
So you're the first female Marlins broadcast radio announcer, right?
Yes, I filled in for 2 games as the color analyst in, what was that? August, maybe? September? I don't remember now. All the months are blurring together. But yeah, I filled in for a couple games against the Royals.
So what was it like being on the radio for the Marlins game?
Oh, it was fantastic. It was something I never really imagined that I would do. And the opportunity was presented to me. I had started with University of Miami, the ESPN3 games. A friend of mine who also works for Marlins radio as well, he does some play-by-play and hosts a pregame show. His name's Kyle Seelock. He went up to me because he also works at He's like, "Hey, I do some of these broadcasts for the baseball team. You should try. You should do this with me." I've never done color before. I've never been in the booth. I never really thought of being in the booth, but I thought, okay, sure, I'll give it a shot. I ended up absolutely loving it. So I would just keep doing games there. I did games there for like 2-3 years, filling in when I could. And then the Marlins came to me with this opportunity. They said, "Hey, we've got 2 games where we're looking for someone to fill in. Would you be interested?" I was like, absolutely 100%. I never could have really dreamed of doing that. It just, yeah, it was amazing.
So, starting as a production assistant for Fox Sports Florida, how did the transition from production assistant to reporting go? With the difference between journalism and production.
Well, I think personally, it's great if you can be on camera. If your goal is to be on camera, to know how the behind the scenes work, because those are the people. It's a team. Those are the people who put it together. So I think that everything that I learned as a producer and as an editor and everything that I was doing behind the scenes just makes me a better reporter and makes me a better teammate, quite frankly, to my coworkers, because I understand what their job responsibilities are and what their position is. So if anyone, I always recommend everyone to get that experience. Now, how that transition went, when you're new to any job, just trying to do my best in my role and learning all my coworkers and what they do and the best way to do my job. In about, I would say 3-4 months into it, I would ask, when I was going out and reporters, say, "Hey, I'd ask the camera guy, say, "Hey, can I come a little bit early or stay a little bit late and shoot some stand-ups with you?" And I asked the reporter, "Hey, I'd love to get your advice." So I'd write my own stand-ups and then I'd shoot them. And I do that over and over and over again with different reporters and different opportunities to do on-camera shoots and get the feedback from my bosses and from other reporters in the industry and continue to try to grow. I would then try to put together some packages. So I'd see a package that was on Fox Sports Florida Marlins game that Craig Minervini did or Allison Williams did. I'd say, okay, I'm going to try to do that same exact thing. I'm going to shoot a stand up and I'm put together a package. Again, for practice, just try to get my feet wet. And from there, I saw an opportunity to cover some stuff on our website. And there wasn't really a position for that at the time. So I found an event that happened to be the same exact day, same exact location as one of our shoots. So I pitched it to my boss. I said, hey, we're already there. Can the camera guy, if he's willing, can he stay a half an hour longer? Can I cover this event, edit it on my own, and do it for the web? He said, sure, okay, we'll give it a shot. And early on, you do everything for free because you're trying to get experience, you're trying to prove yourself. So I did that for free, showed it to him, and he loved it. And then after that, he'd be like, hey, Kelly, can you actually cover this for web? And that's how I slowly started to gain some on-camera experience. So that's how that transition went. And being able to produce and edit on your own was the reason I got those opportunities to begin with. Because if I said, okay, I could go and interview people and do stand-ups, but someone else has to edit it, now things get really complicated.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Does it help in the Miami market to be bilingual to get a job such as at Fox Sports?
Oh, I think it definitely helps. It's not a requirement of any sorts, but 100%, especially for the sport I'm covering. There's so many Latin baseball players, so many people speak Spanish that I think it is huge. Absolutely. And in any market, I think it's big. In Miami, it's huge. And it definitely helps my relationship with players and especially those who aren't as comfortable speaking English.
So of all the Marlins that you covered, who's the best character you talked to on the team?
Who's what?
Best character to talk to on the team, the Marlins. Best
Sorry, did you say
best
scariest?
Character.
Best character. Yeah. Ooh. Like over the years or this year?
Let's say over the years.
Biggest, Sergio Romo. He was only on our team up until like the trade deadline last year. He is hilarious. Holy cow. You never really know what was going to come out of his mouth. So he's just like right off the bat, Sergio Romo, I'd have to say.
Actually interned with the Jumbo Shrimp this past summer in 2019.
Oh, yeah?
Has like 6-0 play and Stone Garrett, who's a monster, like freaking crazy plays. The Marlins are kind of rebuilding right now. What guys are kind of like rising stars, do you think, with the organization?
Rising stars with the organization?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, there's so many. Honestly, there's so many. I just don't even know where to start. When you're looking back at this spring training which was cut short, I think some guys that really stood out. Alex Vesia, he was pitching fantastic. Jordan Holloway, he was doing great out there. Jazz Chisholm, he's he plays loud. He's like fun. He loves it and really enjoys it. And then you look at our draft class last year was huge with JJ Bleday, with Nasim Nunez, what he can do in the field is incredible. And then a couple other guys over there too. There's a lot of talent there. So I think that it puts the situation that they're in right now, what everybody's in right now with COVID-19, it hurts a little bit more because you're like, gosh, you want to see these guys continue to develop. So and Cameron Meisner, the list goes on. And that's for the guys who I think were going to be close to coming up this year, who would have probably come up last year. As for injuries, we've got Monte Harrison, who is a beast, and you've got Nick Neidert, who's such a talented pitcher. So the list goes on and on.
So when the Dolphins started their rebuild a few years ago, they got the new ownership group with Jeter. They, of course, had I think it started with the tragic death of Jose Fernandez, and then they got rid of Stanton, Ozuna, and everybody else. What did Kelly Saco, the sports fan, feel going through that whole process of the change of ownership and then getting rid of all your stars like that?
It's never easy. If for someone to say like, oh, that was fun, would just be a lie, quite frankly. It's a tough process. It's understandable. You can sit there and you could hear the reasoning behind it, which, at the end of the day, they weren't going to be able to afford the team that they had. And, you see Yelich, the deal that he just signed, and I'm sure JT Realmuto is going to be signing a very good deal here shortly too. And you understand the reasoning. And at the end of the day, the team that they had on the field with all those stars, they weren't winning. And it's tough to see because you see all that individual talent, but those guys couldn't win. They weren't winning together. And at the same time, the minor league system was so depleted. There was nobody there. When you look at successful organizations, you look at franchises like the LA Dodgers and you look at the New York Yankees, right? You see, especially the Yankees this past year, they went through how many injuries, but they always had someone in the minor leagues there ready to step up, and they took their place and they never skipped a beat. So when you see that, we weren't going to be able to do that with the farm system that they had at the time. So the Marlins weren't going to be able to do that. Someone went down in the outfield, whether it was Yelich or Stanton. You've seen how injury prone he's been, or Marcell Ozuna. There was no one there who was able to just step up and fill his place and not skip a beat. So the reasoning, I mean, you can't argue with the reasoning there. But of course, it's going to be tough, especially after you cover guys for years and years and years and you develop those relationships. So it's tough. But now when you see what they've got and you see all that young talent and you see how exciting like the future is and how bright the future is, that's when you're like, okay, the light at the end of the tunnel, it's there.
What's your 2 cents on the Florida Arizona plans possibly for baseball this season?
Oh gosh, I think it's going to be interesting, quite frankly, to see what they decide, because they're in just such a tough spot. I think that the Arizona Biodome idea, it's just going to be very tough logistically. I mean, at the end of the day, I think you're quarantining like 10,000 people when you're talking about hotel staff, including hotel staff in there and people who are cooking food and you're talking grounds crew and you're talking people running cameras and media and everything. I think by the end of it, there was a great article, I think it was in the New York Post, that pretty much broke down all the people that you're going to need to put that together. Logistically, it doesn't seem like it would work. I think something like a Arizona, Florida would make a little bit more sense because it gives you a little more room to play with. But then you've got the other factors, as in Florida, it rains. It rains a lot, and you've got hurricane season. In Arizona, it's kind of the opposite. It's 120 degrees, and are they going to be playing people in those conditions? So I think that at this point in the game, there's just a lot of ideas out there. You can't really make anything concrete until this fluid situation continues to develop.
So you got a pretty busy schedule, during the season at least.
Yeah.
What would say your favorite part of covering the Marlins, during the season, would you say is your favorite?
My favorite part about covering the Marlins, it's my hometown team. I'd have to go with that. I love covering my hometown team. I never would have imagined that I'd go straight out of college right back home to Miami. My parents still come to all my games, just like when I was playing softball growing up. They're in the stands. Being able to share that with my family, I think, is just priceless. And it's a team that I grew up cheering for. The guys who I grew up cheering for, like Juan Pierre, are people that I see every day. So I think that would probably be my favorite part.
So we're all quarantined, Kelly. Give us your top 3 quarantine snacks.
Ooh, okay. Top 3 quarantine snacks. It varies day to day, and my palate's like all over the place. So I really like cheese and crackers. I'm a big cheese and crackers person. I love kale chips, and I like to make my own Nutella crepes with some ice cream on top. I know, I'm all over the place. I went from kale chips, that's really healthy, to Nutella and ice cream.
I just want to point out John's visceral reaction to hearing kale chips.
Kale chips are not good. What the heck? Oh my goodness.
I got really into it. It's so funny because my friends at the Marlins, they say I eat like a baby dinosaur because I eat like crazy and no one believes it. But until you have to sit down and eat with me. And I just loved everything. And it goes from, and I've never been a really healthy person growing up, but someone got me into kale chips, and I'm just sit there and make really spicy kale chips and just munch on them while watching The Office.
I don't know about that.
John is offended right now.
What's
my
yours?
Heart.
I was just about to say, this one's judging my kale chips.
No, you gotta go with the Cool Ranch Doritos, and there you go. That's about all I eat these days.
I've been big on also the Ruffles, the original Ruffles with the French onion dip.
Oh yeah,
that's my chip of choice.
See, that's a chip for a sane person, unlike kale chips.
Listen, until you try my kale chips, you can't knock it.
For me, it's Pop-Tarts, it's Hot Pockets, and hot dogs. Just those three. Keep it simple.
See, but that's the college diet.
Yeah.
If the college Kelly would have never chosen kale chips and cheese and crackers. The crepes, yes. College Kelly would have been like Ben and Jerry's ice cream. Let's see, what else did college Kelly eat? There was a place at Syracuse called Funkin' Waffles, and they had these brownie waffles, so that would have been on the list. And pizza rolls, of course.
What you, Zach?
We would.
For me, it's been the spicy nacho Doritos. I've been cooking a lot more than usual, so I haven't been snacking. I've been making whole meals and like feeding my whole family with that kind of stuff.
Oh wow! So everyone needs to go to your house, is what I'm hearing.
When the virus is over, when we're not social distancing anymore, everyone's invited.
All right.
We're going to take a break here, though. Thank you, Kelly, for your time today. Glad we got to talk to you about your journey from Syracuse to Miami.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Kelly.
it.
Yeah.
Thanks again to Kelly Saco from Fox Sports Florida for a fun interview. Beginning of the show, awesome about her journey from Syracuse to the Marlins, her 2 cents on the current baseball scenario. We're going to pivot that and segue, call it a Drew segue, over to UNF news here. Now, our guy Zach Earwood had a story this past week about the UNF-JU playoff game. Zach, what made that game so important, do you think?
Well, let's start with the stakes of the game. We already know about the UNF-JU rivalry, the River City Rumble. They played twice so far this season, and UNF won both times. But once is happenstance, twice is coincidence. If UNF beat them all 3 times in the season, you knew that UNF was without a doubt the better team. That's the first thing. Second, it's a playoff game. You win or you survive in advance. You win or you go home. That simple. And then on top of that, it was back and forth in the first half. We had sorry, I lost my train of thought. It was back and forth in the first half, and then the Ospreys pull away for a 13-point lead in the second half, only for Destin Barnes to decide that he's going to put the entire city of Jacksonville on his back and hit 3 after 3 after 3 with less than 2 minutes to go. That 13-point lead became a 3-point lead for UNF by the time the game was over, with just 2 minutes to go on the clock when that run started. It was ridiculous, including, as you guys remember, that half-court heave that he threw up at the end of the game.
It's called Trae Young range. So they beat him once, beat him twice, beat him 3 times, so that they ate that dub.
They did eat that W, as Jameis Winston, former Buccaneers quarterback, would say.
I'm careful with that.
I'm terrible. I got to get better at that, but we don't have him as quarterback anymore, so we're okay.
I think just like the crowd too was like I think the whole entire lower bowl was like sold out. I think in that game it was insane. The crowd that built.
The lower bowl was sold out. The upper stands were pretty packed as well. I remember I was calling that game with Tyler Prom up in the Bird's Nest, and I could barely hear what he was saying. If I didn't have the headphones on that I had on that night, I wouldn't have been able to call that game. It was great. That last shot, like I said, it jumped me almost. Like I almost fell down the stairs because I was so hyped because of it. It wasn't even my team that hit the shot. It was the other team, and I was still so hyped because I knew our team had won the game. But it was just ridiculous that he threw up a circus shot from, as you would say, Trae Young range.
Yes.
And he hit it.
Too cold. But you think this probably, I think, their last good team in a while, I think, for JU, because they had David Bell was a monster. They had I think Barnes still a junior maybe, but just –
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. But
they had a couple seniors. They'll reload. They'll be one of the top 8 teams in the ASUN next season. I think they'll probably stay around that 7 range where they were this year.
You said there were going to be top 8 teams in the ASUN.
There's going to be 10 teams next year, sir. We're getting Bellarmine.
Yeah.
There's more competition now.
Top 8.
Yeah, that's who makes the playoff.
But still.
Just don't be the bottom 2. Gosh.
There you go.
Simple.
There you go.
On the UNF side, Zach, who do you think showed out the most in that game for UNF?
For me, it's Carter Hendrickson. The dude he's been starting all year. This is his first full year as a starter. He's a sophomore. He did get to start towards the end of the season last year, but to come out in what is your first playoff game as a starter and drop 21, that's something special. And everybody's going to be looking at Carter next season as being the only starter returning to kind of be the leader of the team. So that was a really big moment for him to step up, and he can carry that into the future for him.
I think the look I want to see next year is going to be Jose Placer, the red shirt from UMBC. He looks really good from the workouts I've seen. I'm
excited next season for Emmanuel Adedoyin. He's shown that he can handle the ball, drive down the lane, almost like Magic Johnson, just a little bit smaller. I think he's going to be an exciting player to watch next year.
So John had a story this week too. Actually, John had this top 5 uniforms this past season. It's kind of topical, kind of hot takes, but I want to see what his picks were.
Hot takes indeed. As we go towards these lists, as we know, Under Armour began their campaign for a 7-year deal with UNF as the New Jersey uniform sponsor for the athletics. Number 5 was the indoor volleyball home white jersey, a pretty classic look with accents on the shoulders with gray sleeves and, just a classic look. Number 4 was the white women's basketball home white jersey. I like the reason for it's number 4 is that I love the lettering on the letters and also the numbering. It's really a unique kind of number, and it's a unique style that I think is a great fit. And then number 3, the only men's basketball jersey to make the list. And I had a lot of these jerseys are white, so this one was the only one that wasn't primarily white. This was the blue jersey. I could probably put a picture up like here, but that's a lot of editing. I don't want to do that. But the blue jersey, I liked the collar because it had like a gray stripe and then a white stripe as well. And then the shorts were really cool design. Number 2, you gotta give the baseball some love. They switched up the jerseys. They had about like 5, I think, different styles with pinstripes and gray and blue and different pants and stuff like that. But they're all white jersey with the cursive font. Freaking mint, bro. Love that one. Lastly, upset, number 1, women's soccer gray and white striped jersey. I want to get your guys' take on this one, since, soccer has always been more of a unique look for any jersey, and they're not, they always try and break the barrier. And I think this design was, pretty sharp as they went and faced some tough opponents this year. What do you guys think about that one?
I do like that gray and white stripe from the soccer team, but I think if I recall correctly, the men's basketball team has a gray road uniform. That was dope.
I'd like to say something about that. I just couldn't find any pictures of it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't know if Under Armour transferred it to this season. And that's the case there.
I think they wore it on the road this year.
We'll have to look that one up. But I cannot find it.
When they played Gulf Coast, they wore those uniforms.
We only have like 5 minutes left here.
If I could adjust one of the uniforms, I'd have basketball with the Marquette stripes and the on the sides to make it nice. So my adjustment I would put.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of uniforms,
you said? Interesting.
What do we think of the Chargers' new look? Because I love every single one of those uniforms.
It's the best of all the new ones.
Yeah, big fan. Always looking great, and I'm a big Chargers fan. I have jerseys from when they had the dark blue or the navy blue. So I think it's interesting that they're going towards more of a powder blue look, and I think it's the right choice.
They do have that navy blue alternate in there as well, which is a really good look too.
Yeah, it's a nice like color rush, a jersey, something like that.
It would look so much nicer when the back was saying Tua Tagovailoa.
I know it would. I'd love that.
It will. We don't know until it comes out, so I might be right.
Personally, I would be very happy. But personally, I would not be happy if it was Jordan Love or Justin Herbert, but we won't get into that because this is definitely after draft comes up. Sorry about that, guys.
I think whatever team gets Henry Ruggs, make a shirt that says "Say yes to Ruggs." Say yes to Ruggs.
Say yes to Ruggs. All right. I think we're all good.
So that was Walk-Ons with Zachary /Year/Wood. I'm Drew Make/Donald. and that is John Watson.
All right, I guess so.
Yeah.
Don't know what that was. All right.
I'm a walk
out.
off now. See y'all.
Yeah, this is the walk-offs.